didn't do anything. All they did was come and switch out 1 meter to the next. I don't see any extra infrastructure. Where I'm at, I'm on the end of the line. I used to have a lot of power surges and not enough power, and my well pump it had fried it twice, and because of lack of power. In our area, there's so many houses around and a lack of power that they have power issues, and I haven't seen that since. Obviously, I went on the grid and started producing my own power and produced some extra power for IDAHO Power. I think this really needs to be looked at extensively for the next 2 to 3 years as it slows down for incentives from the government, from the federal government. We're not going to see an increase of solar power.
Yes,
if those incentives goes away, solar power gets less and less.
What's going to happen is
realistic to make work.
The industry is going to absorb a lot of costs.
Going in the direction of creating more incentives to add solar power.
Banks are going to make less money.
Creating reasons
there'll be less margin. Equipment costs will come down slightly, but really the soft costs, the regulatory.
I don't have all the answers. I just know that the way they're going about it is unfair, unjust, and
unreasonable.
We're not going to get a result that anybody's going to.
Unfair, unjust, unreasonable.
As far as
those are the three.
I know Power gets what they want, and they're off up to the races again. So I guess that is my comments. That's what I have to say. I appreciate your guys' time, and I hope you reject their offer, and we can visit this in the future and come up with a real plan that makes sense for Idahoans and Idaho's solar power. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? There being none, thank you for your testimony. We move now to a caller with the last 4 digits in their phone number as 6333. 6333. Is the caller there?
Yes, I am here.
Great. Why don't we get you sworn in for the record? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, please state your name and spell it for us?
My name is Trudy McGavin, TRUDYMCGAVIN.
Thank you. And your address, please?
3203 Treasure Drive, Boise, Idaho.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Thank you. And could you please offer us your comment?
Okay. Yes, I will. So I'm going to read my statement, if that's okay. So thank you to the Commission for holding these public meetings and listening to our concerns. My family has invested over $25,000 for our rooftop solar system and our net metering customers. We've had this system in operation for just over a year now. We installed the system both for the significant improvement of our environmental impact in Idaho, as well as for the return on investment of the system. We believe strongly in providing green energy. Several buildings in Boise that use Idaho Power, these are rentals, and have had the intention to install 1 or 2 additional systems on other sites. These additional installations are now on hold. We have purchased an electric car that we charge with our system. This is another way we are able to reduce our air quality impact in Boise. We are doing everything we can as consumers to minimize our environmental impact, and rooftop solar is one major action that other Idaho consumers can take, at least until this rate decrease proposal. I have a strong concern for the value of investment we have made being lost if this proposal goes through. We understand that the current proposal does not allow for the rate to transfer with our system. So again, if you're going to allow for grandfathering, yes, it would, but the way it currently reads, it would not. At the current rate being paid by Idaho Power for our solar generation, the return on investment for the existing system will take us nearly 20 years to break even. We generate our power during the day, and we use less power during the day than we generate. But because we have an electric heat pump system, our usage is also heavily during the evening when we have no solar. if we have not paid the same amount for the power we generate as the power we use, this would be an unreasonable economic harm to us. So we do, just to make note, we are not generating, we're generating enough for them to get some, but some months, of course, we're having to pay in. So it's not like we're generating over an amount over than what we use. The proposed rate cut will completely negate the economic benefit for investing in the system. The new rates would be so low as to never break even over the usable life of the solar panels. Therefore, at the proposed rates, there is absolutely no economic financial incentive for Idaho Power subscribers to install solar rooftop. This proposal would effectively eliminate consumer rooftop solar installations in Idaho. There are numerous solar installation companies that would effectively have their business in Idaho eliminated as a result of the proposed rate cut. This will destroy hundreds of good-paying jobs in Idaho. I reiterate what other callers have indicated, that the public expected that the required study per the IPUC case number IPC-E-18-15 to evaluate the actual costs and benefits and the true impact installing rooftop solar would be done. I understand that no such study was completed, but just the request to move the Senate settlement. So I ask, unlike other callers, that this sounds like this study is really a needed study to evaluate these costs. I've done a lot of research on green power generation. I don't believe the propaganda that Idaho Power is stating is based on fact. I believe that the value of rooftop solar is actually much more of a benefit to Idaho than any potential downside being cited by Idaho Power as a basis of this settlement proposal. If this proposed rate goes through and a class action lawsuit is filed, my husband and I will definitely participate. I don't want to see that happen. Please reject this settlement and conduct the appropriate study. Please do not cut the rate being provided to all our rooftop solar installations, past, present, and future. At minimum, please grandfather existing systems and tie that grandfather rate structure to the solar system itself, not the Idaho Power customer, as that would be the only way to protect the value of the investment. And that's my statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? There being none, thank you for your testimony today. We now move to a caller with the last four digits in their phone number as 7092-7092. Is the caller there?
Yes. Hello.
Hello. Why don't we begin by swearing you in? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, state your name and spell your name?
Pat, C-A-T, Hoffer, H-O-F-F-E-R.
Thank you. And your address, please.
22825 Elsie Street, E-L-S-I-E, Caldwell, Idaho.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
I am.
Well, good afternoon, and could you please offer your comment?
Okay, I am currently a solar power client. I have been a client of Idaho Power for a great number of years. And the current system is that I give the excess power that I produce from my solar to Idaho Power, and then at nighttime, I get back some of that if I need it. And then if I don't use all of the power, Idaho Power is keeping it, and they're selling it to other customers who need power. So why does that cost them money? Somehow that doesn't quite make sense to me. I guess I need a different accountant. And they want to change it so that I will only get back half of what the excess that I use, and any more I may have to start paying for the free power that I'm giving them. So therefore, please do not allow them to make these changes.
That's my comment.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? Seeing none, then thank you again for your comments today. We move now to the last four digits of a caller, 8459-8459. Is the caller there?
Yeah, I already given my opinion or my input earlier today. I had to jump off the line, but I jumped back on.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, and we'll move on then, and thank you again. The last four digits of the next caller are 0846. 0846. Is the caller there? We'll move on to the next caller, 2037. 2037. Is the caller there? Okay, plus 2037. Next caller, 2080. We just lost 2080. And the next caller, 5694. 5694. Is the caller there?
I already gave my testimony earlier. I was just hearing the rest of them.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, that exhausts the list I have. Are there more calls? And just a brief pause here so that we can get a few additional calls on my sheet.
What'd I miss?
And I now have that list. We move now to a caller whose last four digits in their phone number are 0206. 0206. Is the caller on the line?
Yes.
Good afternoon. And let me swear you in. Do you affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, please state your name and spell it?
Brian, B-R-I-A-N, Shield, S-H-I-E-L-D-S.
And your address, please?
2 North Ridge Way, Jerome, Idaho, 83338.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
Yes.
Thank you. Could you please offer us your comments?
Well, I'm just kind of perplexed with this proposal. We put rooftop solar on our home last December, and I also am a employee of the solar system. It's a very large system. It was a huge investment. We're kind of different than most people in that our house is all electric, so we need to provide enough energy in the summer to heat our house in the winter. So our power bills in the winter are much higher than they are in the summer. We entered into a contract with Idaho Power in good faith that we would produce energy and store it on the grid, and when we need it in the winter, we would be able to call on that. Under the new proposal, we would not be able to afford to pay Idaho Power and to pay our solar bill. I also have not been able to sell a system in good faith since this proposal came out, because I don't believe it would be of benefit to my customers. So if this proposal goes forward as it stands, it's my opinion that the entire solar system in Idaho will go away and there will be no more green power. I mean, Idaho Power is going to other sources to buy power because they can no longer produce enough power off the river. I don't understand why they're trying to put an end to solar in Idaho. And that's, to go on would be just basically reiterating the comments I've heard, but I appreciate you taking my testimony, and that's pretty much what I have to say.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? There being none, thank you for your testimony today. We move now to a caller with the last four digits of their phone number being 1873. 1873. Is the caller there?
Yes.
Good. Let's get you sworn in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide would be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, please state your name and spell it?
Larry Moore, LARRYMOORE.
And your address?
11710 West Tioga Street, Boise, Idaho, 83709.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
I am.
Thank you. Could you please offer us your comments?
I got on this late in the game here with this phone call, but I did hear Mr. Miller's comments, and I did pretty much everything he said. I agree that we're going to ruin the whole green energy thought by if Idaho Power is able to go forward with their plan. And it just goes against the whole solar idea. I did this to as a conservation thought by going to solar power, and that's why I did it. And I believe it's worked well for me, and it worked well for the state. And also Idaho Power, even though they're thinking the opposite, I think it's more greed on their part, other than trying to say that they're not making the money. And that's pretty much all my comments. It's sad that the PUC can agree to allowing customers to do this, and then pulling back that right by allowing Idaho Power to come forward and change their game later in the process. So I think that is wrong, and it's still taking advantage of the people, and so that's my comments there. I just feel that way, and I will listen in on this, and I appreciate it. Thank you. And it's a conference call.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case and members of the commission? Seeing none, thank you again for your testimony today. We move now to a caller with the last four digits from the number being 5719. 5719. Is the caller there?
Yes, already commented earlier. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving now to caller with the last four digits 1907. 1907. Is the caller there?
Yes, I already gave my testimony earlier. I'm just listening in.
Okay, thank you. Moving now to caller with the last four digits 3027. 3027. Is the caller there?
I'm just listening in.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to caller 2055. 2055. Is the caller there? As the last four digits of your phone number, 2055. Move now to the next caller with the last four digits of 1294 1294. Is the caller there?
Yes.
Good afternoon. Can we begin by swearing you in? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And if we could get you to speak up just a little more loudly, that would be appreciated on our end. Could you please state for the record your full name and spell it for us as well?
Robert Loken, ROBERT LOKEN.
And your address?
2496 East Ashbrook Court, Eagle, Idaho.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
Yes, I am.
Please provide us your comment.
I paid many thousands of dollars for solar panels on my roof 1.5 years ago, with the promise from Idaho Power that if I followed the requirements, which I did, I would be reimbursed at retail for the energy generated by my panels. Now, IP sells the solar energy at retail to its customers, and they get the energy they get from my panels from their customers. Now IP is breaking its promise by proposing to lower my reimbursement by approximately half, and I find this extremely unethical and unfair. I was raised to believe that a promise is a promise.
They didn't make a promise.
Now, of course,
That's the
IP
problem.
may develop new programs for future customers,
It wasn't a contract.
but not for those under the decades.
Is it fair to change
program.
retroactively? No,
So
but it wasn't a
please
contract.
reject IP's proposal.
It was a policy that's been around for 20 years. Not a
Thank you.
contract.
Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? There being none, then thank you again for your testimony. We move now to caller with the last four digits of their phone number being 8128 8128. Is the caller there?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Let's begin by swearing you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And could you please, for the record, state your full name and spell it for us?
My name is Paul Robb, PAULROBB.
That's my question.
And your address?
5134 North Backwater Avenue, Garden City, 83714.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
I am.
That's one of my customers.
Thank you. Could you please offer us your comment?
Sure. As teachers, my wife and I have invested our careers, time, and resources in helping build a better future for our children, using our retirement savings to reduce our carbon emissions footprint seemed worth the sacrifice and leading by example. As retirees, we are literally counting on our service agreement with Idaho Power being honored. In addition to generating clean energy, we also take great measures to conserve our use of energy. The proposed net metering rates, in essence, penalizes conservation measures as well when a solar customer's surplus energy then is devalued and has to be bought back. It makes no sense. So we ask that you please honor the service agreement with responsible citizens trying to do the right thing for our community and environment.
This is an example of one of the problems.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case, members of the commission? Seeing none, then thank you again for your comments today. We move now to the next caller, last four digits of their phone number, 4960
without any benefit.
4960. Is the caller there? Let's move on to the next caller then. 8798 8798. Is the caller there?
Benjamin.
Hello. I can't hear you. Excuse me, sir. We're having a little difficulty in hearing you. Why don't we start first by getting you sworn in, and then we'll see how the audio sounds. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I said earlier I'm just listening online. I'll
Just
subscribe
listening.
to online.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. And we appreciate your attention to this matter today. Thank you for being on the call. We'll move now to the next caller with the last four digits, 8798. Oh, I'm sorry. The next caller is last four digits, 4231. 4231. Is the caller there?
Caller is here. I already made my comments and I was booted off, so I had to call back in.
Okay, but we did get your comments. Is that correct?
Not my comments earlier, yes, but the phone, you guys, for some reason the phone might drop me, so I had to call back in again.
Okay. Thank you, and we appreciate having you back on the line. Let's move now to the next caller with the last four digits and their number as 8771. 8771. Is the caller there?
Yes, she is.
Oh, good. Why don't we begin by getting sworn in? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, please state your name and spell it?
My name is Linda Freeberg, spelled Linda, Linda, Freeberg, Freeberg.
And your address?
12585 South Courage Hill Way in Nampa, 83686.
And are you an Idaho Power customer?
I am. We are.
Good. Well, good afternoon. And if you'd like, please offer as your statement.
My husband and I added solar just almost 1 year ago, about 11 months ago, with the expectation that we could continue with the service agreement that was made between us and Idaho Power. We're recent retirees.
Not just
and for
about
economic
grandfather.
reasons,
It's about the entirety of the fairness, and justice, and reasonableness of the rates, the compensation structure, the benefits of solar, all the problems with this case, not just the grandfathering is back in the day. This is one of the problems that the organizations signed on to the settlement have perpetrated, is that they're only letting people know about grandfathering. Testify that you should be grandfathered. Let's kill the industry next year, but make sure you say you'd be grandfathered. The whole thing shouldn't pass.
I think we may have lost you.
My husband was trying to help me a little bit.
This is her husband, Mervyn.
Mervyn, just a moment. If you choose to testify, it sounds like you might be willing to. We need to get you sworn in and get you officially on the record. So I'm assuming that at least for the moment, concludes the comments of Linda. And so why don't we get you sworn in? Do you swear to be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. And why don't we get your name on the record? If you could state your name as well as spell it for us.
Yes, it's Mervyn Freeberg, MERVYN FRIBERG.
And your address?
12585 South Carriage Hill Way, Nampa, Idaho, 83686.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, and please offer us your thoughts.
Yeah, the additional thing I was trying to add is that we've made the loan to purchase that we with the net metering would help us out, and if it's taken away, it's not just kicking us back to where we were before. We would still have to there'd be a significant out of cost. We're only getting half on their commitment, their agreed plan with us.
Okay, thank you. Does that conclude your comments?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any questions for either Linda or Mervyn from parties to the case or members of the commission? There being none, we wish to thank you for your comments today. Moving now to a caller with the last four digits in their phone number of 0203. 0203. Is the caller there?
I'm just listening in.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on now to caller with the last four digits, 7389, 7389. Is the caller there?
Yes, I am here. I had a question regarding if I'm allowed to make comments if I already made a written comment on the IPC website.
Yes, you are.
Sure, you can, but what we'll need to do first is get you sworn in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I clarified that in my post.
Yes. Thank you.
No other companies clarified it.
Please state your name and spell it for us.
Yeah, it's Nick Davis, NickDavis.
And your address?
6298 North Stafford Place, Boise, Idaho.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
Yes.
Okay, please provide us your comment.
Okay, I'll just comment on the parts I did not include in my written comment. But basically, I just wanted to shine a little light on the difference between, if this proposal does go through, the difference between an existing customer and a new customer. So I recently installed a solar system on my house, and had I known that this was going to potentially be a net hourly system, I would have completely redesigned my system. I would have had my panels facing more westerly to utilize the power in the summer, in the evening and afternoon better. Potentially, probably a smaller system. That way, because there's really no need to over-generate with the net hourly. And then potentially a battery or a small battery to offset some of my uses that aren't generated, that aren't during times of generation. So I just think that's important to know that there's a big difference. And my investment is like a 20-plus year investment period. And it's not financially feasible to relocate solar panels and redo the system. So I'm stuck with the system I've got. So even if it changes in what I believe your IPC staff has said 8 years was your potential proposal for, you know what I'm saying, for accepting the proposal. That was 8 years is in 8 years, if I'm going to start looking at more increased bills, I'm going to still be paying off my solar system at that point. It's going to become not financially feasible. And I think you guys understand the ramifications, regarding the economic or ecological thing and the, being green and environmentally friendly. I think this is a statement that you guys need to make to Idaho and to all of everybody that you guys support clean energy. And obviously by doing this, you're saying the exact opposite. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Are there any questions from parties to the case and members of the commission? Seeing none then, we appreciate your comments today. Moving now to the next caller with the last four digits of their phone number being 6206-6206. Is the caller there?
Yes, I am.
Thank you and good afternoon. Let me start by swearing you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, please state your name and spell it for us?
Yes, it's Robert Russell, RobertRussell.
And your address?
I live at 5 Sims Ranch Road in Salmon, Idaho, 83467.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
I am, yes.
Thank you. Please offer up your comments for us.
Okay, I have been listening for some time now, and my comments are similar to what I've heard before. But basically, I just put in a solar system that's only been operational for 3 months. I got it in August of this year, and for all the same reasons that I've heard other people explain, I would have designed my system differently and perhaps for a different return period on my investment had I known that the agreement I had with Idaho Power was going to change. Therefore, I really believe I did talk to Idaho Power. I understand the rationale behind what they're proposing, but I think that existing customers who have already designed and invested in their system should be grandfathered in at the existing situation.
Grandfather.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? Seeing none, then, we appreciate your comments today, and we move now to the next caller with the last 4 digits of their phone number being 7047 7047. Is the caller there?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Let me get you sworn in for the record. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, please state your name and spell it?
My name is Joseph Schuler, spelled Joseph.
Go, Joey!
Schuler.
Thank you. And your address, please.
1002 North 8th Street in Boise, Idaho, 83702.
Joey Schuler, ladies and gentlemen.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
I am.
Thank you. And could you please offer us your statement?
You bet. And I'm an Idaho Power customer for 3 separate properties in Boise, and then I share residents up in the mountains as well that's also under Idaho Power. So my statement is I implore you to not allow Idaho Power to take the existing rates for residential solar generators and set new rates for those producers. My heart absolutely sunk when I read the letter sent by Idaho Power this last month. My wife reassured me this had to be a step taken in such a way as remain fair to us and our investment, and to remain calm, contact Idaho Power the next day and just inquire further about it. Perhaps it didn't apply to us with some aspects of our power production beyond that which we consumed at the end of the year. I called the next day, and when I spoke to the Idaho Power representative, I was not only shocked to learn my worst thoughts were accurate, but it was actually worse than I feared. So just to give you a perspective on us, my wife and I took out a loan, $38,000 to invest in a 20-panel solar array system for our primary home in downtown Boise in 2018. This system is designed to offset 90% of our electricity consumption on a 1910 year 1,400 square foot home without natural gas. So we're all electric there. And that 10% gap, we hope to make more energy efficiency upgrades to the home, all investing in that older home so that we could be as energy efficient as possible. So my estimates put the recovery of those funds at a low investment return of between 10 and 12 years, assuming annual utility costs rose at a consistent rate of between 5 and 15%. Honestly, I didn't see it as a wise and a feel-good investment relative to opportunity costs for the uses of that $38,000. We could have paid down our mortgage at an assured return of investment of my mortgage interest compounded by the amortization schedule. So you may ask, why did we choose to invest in solar? Well, I wouldn't want to think I have to ask that question or have that question not known to the Public Utilities Commission. We all know the importance of investing in alternative energy sources, especially right now. And Idaho itself has a rich history in such investments. Idaho Power is heavily invested in solar energy itself. So it just makes sense, not up front, but over time and to scale. Yet Idaho Power's proposed settlement agreement threatens to undermine my investment, making our modest rate of return non-existent. If you cut our return for production in half to what your consumption rate of is, there's just no end in sight to that return. It's going to even make our home dependent on them, the monopoly holder of our energy resource, as a customer at our location under contract. And it's a public utility company. So when asked why we should pay full price for our consumption while receiving half price for our production on a tiered system, fully in effect prior to my investment maturation, I was told something really concerning to me as an Idaho resident. I was told that Idaho Power can shop around in competitive markets for solar at rates cheaper than those provided me as a consumer of their energy. Therefore, they found a happy medium above those market rates that they felt was fair. And I just want to bring several issues that I see with that market-based attitude. First, they're not a private market purchaser. They're a public utility provider under contract. Due to lack of competition, they can purchase solar from external parties at massively reduced rates because they control all power in Idaho and thereby represent virtually all of the customer base in Idaho, ensuring lower prices through volume. Second, if this were a competitive market scenario, I too would have the ability to review the pricing being provided me and quote-unquote shop around as they do for better pricing for my solar production. Yet Idaho Power will not let me. In fact, they do not even allow me to consume the same energy I produce or install battery storage to store energy. In Boise, you can't do that. So I'm forced to join their net metering program and have no market variability, not from my own choosing or competition availability, because Idaho makes it illegal for me to do anything other than use electricity through Idaho Power. And that gives them directly the power I produce, trust that they're measuring that productivity accurately and accepting the rates they provide. How then can that same company hand me reduced rates after my investment period and still look me in the eye? To me, that's
they can't.
Robbery. This settlement, if allowed proceed, will rob me of my freedom. I have a right to purchase my power or consume power or limit that consumption and invest in my home. My largest single purchase investment outside of property purchasing was this solar array system. And I will have my monthly utility payment right back where it was prior to investing in solar. With the reduced value of solar equipment, as no good investor will want a solar product that only sucks money out of their pockets like it's doing to mine if this goes through. So that leads me to my final point. I don't know if you've been watching the news, but our environmental outlook long term is not so good. Even the most conservative administration across United States history has produced its own report detailing the economic impact of inaction on climate change and cost to taxpayers is in the billions of dollars and only worsening over time. The fire seasons only ramp up in Idaho as snowpack and watershed capabilities diminish and seasonal ebbs and flow intensifies for a drier, hotter Idaho climate. This results in increased fire destruction, increased harmful bug infestation, increased associated flooding and erosion, and a diminished value Idaho. Treasure Valley inversions reach air quality standards further and further as population growth continues to result in more and more carbon pollution in the valley that traps air between the peaks of our mountain ranges, all to the detriment of public health and diminished quality of life, particularly children, the elderly, and those who are ill. Our native salmon populations are in steep decline and have received concerted attention by our governor and national elected congressmen by underperforming dams owned and managed or subsidized by Idaho Power. I could go on and on. I'm a hunter and an angler, and I see what power Idaho truly has and how it is mismanaged. We could be doing better than this, and it needs to start with our solar. The point is, the time is now to garner every tool in our toolbox and every individual in the state, a state known for its independence and individual responsibilities, to pull their own weight to find sustainable energy production practices. Then why on earth would you denigrate, castigate, and in other ways disincentivize private citizens of Idaho from developing their own energy production system? It's at our own cost. If anything, you should of maintenance and repair on the individual consumer instead of a centralized monopoly. Same power site soft target terrorist threat or action. The proposed separate rate system accomplishes the opposite. If you wish to separate rates, pay solar producers more for their production. I understand the need for a public utility consortium, but they don't own the power. Idaho citizens do, and we have a right to use it, produce it, and enshrine our environment with a sustainable energy source for future generations. Idaho Power has been granted a valuable
slow down a little bit.
Excuse me, sir. Could you slow down a little bit? You're going a little fast, and
I'm sorry.
Our reporter is having a little bit of difficulty having her fingers fly across the keyboard.
Okay, sorry. The point is, the time is now to garner every tool in our toolbox in every individual in this state, a state known for its independence and individual responsibilities, to pull their weight to find sustainable energy production practices. Why on earth would you disincentivize private citizens of Idaho from developing their own energy production system? If anything, you should be incentivizing Idaho residents to invest in a more decentralized solar grid system that place the cost of maintenance and repair on the individual consumer instead of a centralized monopoly. And I've read this, that the same power sites tend to be soft targets for terrorist threat or action. We are decentralized through solar production. The proposed separate rate system accomplishes the opposite. If you wish to separate rates, if anything, pay solar producers more for their production. I understand the need for a public utility consortium, but they don't own the power. Idaho citizens do. We have a right to use it, produce it, and enshrine our environment with a sustainable energy source for future generations. Idaho Power has been granted a valuable responsibility to ensure access to power to all citizens, and this proposal laughs in the face of that responsibility. I've been advised to advocate, and this is the last comment, I've been advised to advocate for at least a grandfather clause for those of us who invested early. The selfish side of me wants to support that measure, I'll be honest. However, to me, it only represents a payoff to be silent. I know the future of our nation will rely on far more solar applications than it does today, and the proposal stands in direct defiance of that endeavor. It cannot pass because I know from personal experience, as someone who made the difficult choice to put my community and world before my bottom line, that I would not have done so if this proposal was in effect. I want my children and grandchildren to have solar as easily available as it has been to me. It just has to be easier. Please do not make it impossible. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? Seeing none, then thank you for your testimony. We now move to the next caller with the last four digits of their phone number being 8124. 8124 is the caller there.
Yes, hello.
Yes, hello. Why don't we begin by swearing you in? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, please state your full name and spell it for us?
Gregory Farmer, G-R.
And your address?
568 Victoria Drive, Boise.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
Yes, I am.
Please offer us your testimony.
Yes, I installed solar panels approximately 2.5 years ago with the understanding that net metering would be the way that this would be monitored and collected. I advocate for grandfathering those in who have signed on in that agreement with Idaho Power. The second thing along with that, if this does go through and I'm going to have that change, they are forcing me to become business by me selling electricity to Idaho Power. However, I don't have any benefits of being a business. I have put all the upfront costs in. And I have no ability to depreciate or have tax benefits for being a business.
And does that complete your comments?
It does. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? There being none, thank you again for your testimony. We move now to a caller with the last four digits of their phone number being 6605. 6605 is the caller there.
Yes, I am.
Good afternoon. Let me swear you in first. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, please state your name and spell it for us?
Austin Thompson, AUSTINTHOMPSON.
And your address?
My address is 2106 North Linden Street, Jerome, Idaho 83338.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
Yes, sir, I am.
Thank you. Could you please offer us your comment?
Yes. So I have been a solar cell representative for the last 2 years in Idaho, and going through evaluating homeowners' current situations as far as financial feasibility goes, regardless of different prices in systems, Idaho was barely able to make it as it is with the rate structure provided with their net metering program. So going through, having sold almost 50 deals myself in the last 2 years, And having a company that has installed over 2,000, we have obviously several thousands of homeowners that are involved in the net metering program who are not either able to speak here today or listen in, but have reached out to us internally and asked that we go through and stand our ground as far as what we have sold them on. So our biggest concern is coming down to, at the very least, advocating for a grandfather clause for those pre-existing homeowners. Understanding Idaho Power's current situation and their reason for the proposal is understandable, but going under the context of trying to revoke the net metering program that has been put in place for all these previous homeowners, everybody has made their decisions based on the current situation. Also, just wanted to touch on the Idaho Power going or complete green energy by 2045. I believe that by proposing making solar next to impossible is going to be one of the most difficult things for Idaho Power to achieve by cutting out homeowner generation. The reason being is solar is one of the only renewable resources that is as far scalable on a person-by-person basis, allowing Idaho Power to obtain that goal. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? There being none, then thank you for your testimony this afternoon. We move now to a caller with the last four digits of their phone number being 2454-2454. Is the caller there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, great. Let's get you sworn in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, please state your full name and spell it?
Kirk Ebert, K-I-R-K-E-B-E-R-T-Z.
And your address?
125 Belmont Drive, Ketchum, Idaho, 83340.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. Could you please offer us your statement?
Sure. We looked at the costs and rewards of solar panels and decided to go ahead with them after crunching the numbers. And now Idaho Power wants to change the rates for net metering, and the new rates no longer make the solar cost effective. This isn't right. I feel we should be grandfathered into the rates that we signed up for, that we agreed to. And I also think the state of Idaho should be looking to do all they can to encourage solar energy and renewable energy, and not making it more difficult. Try to help it. It's something that everyone knows our climate is changing, and it's not changing for the better. Let's do all we can to make it better. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? There being none, then thank you again for your comments today. We move now to the next caller with the last four digits, 0033. 0033. Is the caller there?
Yes, I am.
Good afternoon. Let's get you sworn in first. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, please state your name and spell it for us?
My name is Michael Felton, MICHAEL-FELTON, and I live at 507 Sun Terrace Drive in Twin Falls, Idaho.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
I am.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you. And could you please offer us your statement?
Sure. My wife and I put in $24,000 worth of panels on our home in May of this year. Part of the permitting process was approval by Idaho Power, which we got. The panels have been doing an excellent job, better than what we expected as far as our benefit on net metering. And now to find out that Idaho Power wants to change the rate, instead of feeling good about myself in spite of the money I had to spend to get solar panels, if this change goes through, I'm going to have a $24,000
albatross on the roof of my house that's not going to make me any money, isn't going to add value to my home. And I just think it's completely unfair for Idaho Power to do that. I think at the very least, people who relied on what Idaho Power told us the rate would be should be grandfathered in, and that would protect a large number of people. I think that's basically what everyone I've heard testify that they too wanted. And if people want to put panels up in the future, then they're going to have to crunch the numbers and see if it works for them. I know that systems are getting cheaper as time goes on, and so maybe it will work at the new rate they want, but they're absolutely cutting the financial throat of anybody who put panels up prior to this proposed rate change. And that concludes my testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Felton. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? Hearing none, then again, we thank you for your testimony today. We move now to the next caller with the last four digits of their phone number being 6478 6478. Is the caller there?
Yes, I am.
Good afternoon. Let's begin by getting you sworn in for the record. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, please state your name and spell it for us?
David Burica. DAVID-BURICA.
And your address, please.
311 Hakela Lane, McCall, Idaho.
Could you repeat that once more? We had a little bit of a breakup on the line, and I apologize.
311 Hakela Lane, McCall, Idaho.
Okay. And I'm sorry, could you spell the name of the lane?
Sure, it's H-E-I-K-K-I-L-A.
Okay, thank you. And again, I apologize for the difficulty in us hearing you. And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
I am.
Thank you. And could you please offer as your statement?
Sure. The proposal that Idaho Power brought to the IPC last year regarding the evaluation of the export credit was specifically proposed to be an evaluation of both the costs and benefits of the export credit to Idaho Power, as I understand it. These, as I read it, fairly based on the cost evaluation, and from what I could tell, they specifically left out all evaluation of benefits, and that would be specifically benefits such as the peaker costs or the peaker benefits that occur during the summer, where solar matches the increased demand on Idaho Power during those dates, and then as general benefits such as environmental benefits, all of which were left to be evaluated for the future. And I feel that the commission should not accept this settlement proposal until the other half of the equation has been evaluated. And that's it.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? There being none, then we thank you for your comments today. We move now to the next caller with the last four digits of their phone number being 3352-3352. Caller there? We will move on to the next caller with the last digit 8459. 8459. Is the caller there? Moving now to the next caller caller with the last four digits being 0336. 0336. Is the caller there?
Yes, I am.
Good afternoon. Let's begin by getting you sworn in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Could you, for the record, please state your name and spell it for us?
Elizabeth Jeffrey. Elizabeth with a Z. Jeffrey. Jeffrey.
And your address?
201 North 3rd Avenue in Haley.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. Could you please offer as your comment?
Yes, I was quite concerned about this proposition. We are retired and downsized and built a small house in Haley and worked to make sure it was going to be a house that we could afford to live in for the rest of our lives, and made it tight and made it not net zero, but we worked at it. And so when at the end of the discussion period with our builder, we discussed what can we do to bring this cost down. It was higher than we'd expected. His recommendation was to take the solar off, being the biggest cost item that we didn't need. And we felt we did need it if we wanted to move forward with our fixed income. And so we chose to keep that because of the payback and the ability to have it even out in 20 years, which is how long we hope to live. When we worked with Idaho Power, they guaranteed us we'd be grandfathered in, both verbally and I believe in the agreement. And so we were pretty surprised a couple of weeks ago to hear that that's being questioned now, especially as we need more and more solar all around the state. It's a curious way to quash the idea of even being able to depend on agreements with our power company and put solar on our roof. And I realize going forward, other people will do it differently, knowing different numbers and maybe living longer. But I would hope that the commission consider the agreements that were made as solid agreements that were made from a public utility and be trustworthy to that end, and support solar and fight the increased need for coal. So that's my whole comment.
Thank you. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? Seeing none, then we again thank you for your comments today. We move now to the next caller with the last four digits of their phone number being 3027. Is the caller there?
I'm just listening in.
Okay, thank you. Moving on then to the next caller with the last four digits, 5651. 51. Is the caller there?
I'm also just listening in.
Hey. The next four digits, 5392. 5392. Is the caller there?
Speaking.
Oh, good. Let's get you sworn in for the record. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And could you, for the record, please state your full name and spell it for us?
Timothy E. Riha. Timothy, middle initial E is in Edward. Riha, last name.
Thank you. And your address?
3419 Caden Lane, Nampa, Idaho, 83686.
And are you a customer of Idaho Power?
I am a customer of Idaho Power. I am also a stockholder of Idaho Power.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon, and could you please offer your comment?
Well, yes, I'm as I say, I'm a Idaho Power stockholder. I installed solar panels on our home as sort of an insurance policy because we're 70s and older, and you can't really get insurance policy. So thinking that if we put insurance or put the solar panels on our house, that would enhance the value of our home should we end up selling it, and whoever would buy it would get the same deal from Idaho Power with the credits we signed up for. And I'm a little miffed with Idaho Power for trying to come around the backside and lower our investment by trying to give us less credit. So I totally disagree as a stockholder with what Idaho Power is doing. The way this area is growing, if we have a drought and power is not being able to produce like it has in the past, solar panels would be helpful. Now, we produce excess number of hours, or our panels do, and I have a credit that builds up, and I'm not asking them to buy those and pay me. I'm just saying let it ride, and I'll use them as I can. So I think it's totally unfair for Idaho Power to do what they're doing and try to cut our reward. That's totally wrong to me. We signed an agreement with that understanding. Had I known that they were going to pull some shenanigans like this, I'd have never put the solar panels on. So I'm a little disappointed with Idaho Power and what they're trying to do. I think it's totally unfair. I'm a senior citizen. I'm on a fixed income. I invested, paid for these things. I still have a bit of a loan to pay off the balance, but I think it's totally unfair of Idaho Power to change the rules. That's my comment.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any questions from parties to the case or members of the commission? There being none, then we certainly thank you for your comments today. At this point, we currently do not have any other callers in the queue, so it would be my intent to take at least a 15-minute break to see if we have any additional callers call in. And I noticed from our court reporter that 15 minutes was welcomed. And I certainly do appreciate your willingness to work through as diligently as you have without as many breaks as we normally would have in a live meeting. So again, thank you for your patience there. Turn within 15 minutes, so if there are any additional callers who called in, we can get their comments on the record as well. So with that, we will go off the record for 15 minutes, and if my math is correct, which it likely is not, that'll be somewhere around 3:06 is, I believe, the time in which we will return. So thank you, and we look forward to being back on at 3:06.